The Wall Street Journal recently released a fairly embarrassing article. It's linked below.
For us?
No. They've never thought about us, not even for a second.
Oh, well, that's embarrassing in a different way, but all right, carry on.
Sure. Where they talk about the action scenes and action stars behind the Fast and Furious franchise.
Your Vin Diesels.
Your Jason Stathams.
You're The Rocks.
Just those three mostly.
Mostly those three.
Tyrese Gibson does not get a bloody look in.
They're the biggest in terms of audience box office numbers and also physically. They're
Correct.
The biggest.
Or are they? How tall is anybody in Hollywood?
Tough
It
to
doesn't
say.
matter. It's neither here nor there. People could leave a like on this video also. That would be absolutely fantastic. Now we will continue the video as it is.
As God intended.
Yes. Anyway, this whole idea, though, was spawned a few years ago about the actors in that and how tough they wanted to be perceived.
Yes.
And it started with Vin Diesel had an idea when he was practicing a fight with one of the other actors where he thought, why not assign numerical values to every move? So like headbutts, roundhouse kicks, body slams, so you can calculate the total of that and determine if two people are getting pummeled, they get pummeled equally and evenly.
Classic Dungeons and Dragons nerd, as
Isn't
we
it
know
just?
he is.
Yes.
Whoever wins, they should hit each other an equal amount.
Yes.
So if a headbutt is worth 2 punches, one character's got a headbutt and one
Yep.
character's got to do the 2 punches. They can't the second character can't do 3 punches because
Yeah.
that's too many hits.
Exactly. And the thing is, that was deemed too complicated because you're basically doing math.
Yuck.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, I tipped over to nerdy. It was like, well, okay, no, none of this, thank you. Not a Fast and Furious movie.
But what was revealed as a result of this is a lot of actors, and this refers to specifically these movies, there is a limitation on how badly they can be hurt in relation to the people that they are pretend fighting with.
So not really hurt. But
No.
like their contracts will state, for example, this actor will only receive like a cut on his cheek, or he won't.
Yes.
He can't be beaten to a bloody pulp and then left on the floor.
Yes, exactly.
The character can't.
There's plenty of examples of it, but basically this is the outline for those three major players we were talking about.
Okay.
Statham negotiated an agreement with the studio that limits how badly he can be beaten up on screen.
Uh-huh.
Vin Diesel had his younger sister, a producer on the film, police the number of punches that he takes. And Dwayne Johnson, The Rock Johnson, enlists producers, editors, and fight coordinators to help make sure he always gives as good as he gets.
Right. Okay.
And if you watch these movies, and there are examples highlighted in this article, it's very evident that that is the case. There's a moment in Fast 5 in 2011 where Vin Diesel pushes The Rock through a wall. 8 seconds later, The Rock then pushes Vin Diesel through a wall.
But what are the walls composed of? Like if one of them's plywood and one's sheetrock.
That's
you know
a
what I
really
mean?
good point,
That's
actually.
a different levels, but I guess one's physically larger than the other.
Yes. In 2015's Furious 7, there's another moment where Statham and The Rock each shatter a glass wall by throwing the other person through it.
But it's one plate glass and one safety glass. At this point, you'd have to factor in like how much effort it looks like it's taking.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what? So if one guy like really rams into the
Yeah.
second guy, and then the second guy just like taps with a finger.
Yes.
Does that count for different values?
That's a really good point. In The Fate and the Furious, which apparently came out in 2017, or did it? It's not important. There was a moment where The Rock was going to be lying on the ground at Vin Diesel's feet, but he insisted that his character could at least be sitting up. So
You don't want to suffer the indignity of being lying down.
Yeah.
Like a sleeping man or a fool.
I feel like The Rock, though, if he did lie down, there's a good chance that he couldn't get up again. I know
He's like a turtle.
He's
It's like a
giant-
turtle you flip on his back. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and do you remember the first fight scene that was ever with Jason Statham and The Rock? Do you remember the fight that they have in the CIA office or wherever The Rock works for in these movies? Is
Oh,
he
yes.
NSA or DSA or
Something like that.
NHS
Yeah.
or NHL? I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's a moment where
He works at IKEA.
he jumps out of an exploding building with his female partner in his arms.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But
yeah.
then it was thought that, well, does that look like The Rock is abandoning a fight? But then it was thought, well, no, he's rescuing a woman. So that's actually fine that he's abandoning the fight. In the follow-up movie, there's a reference to that where Jason Statham's like, you bloody jumped out that window, you bloody coward.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
like, I was rescuing a woman. I would never jump out of a window.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's getting to this point where, is this helping movies? Is this hindering movies? Where do you see this?
Look, I didn't know this existed until a couple of days ago, but I have always felt that. I didn't know it existed contractually, but it always, especially with these movies, it does really feel like everybody needs equal screen time,
Yep.
and they need to equally get their licks in, and,
Yes.
and nobody can be beaten up more than any other person. And I think it is absolutely to the detriment of these movies.
Totally.
I think the modern action movie blockbuster is built on the backs and the torn up feet of movie superstars who don't mind getting their hands dirty and getting blood on everything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's even got to the point where they've got these things called creative interruptions where a fight will end at a stalemate. For example, at the end of Furious 7, when Vin Diesel and Statham are fighting on top of a car park, and a missile is fired from a helicopter, which creates the crack in between them.
Oh, so they can't fight anymore.
They can't fight, and then, but he stomps the car park, and the car park falls down, or whatever happens in that movie. So that these fights don't even end properly. Like, they'll end on, like, they've got their fists up ready to go, and then something else will
It's
happen.
ego's gone mad.
It really is
what it is.
Yeah.
The idea behind the modern day action movie, I feel, or it should be, is that it's a character who is somewhat like you and me, and they survive by the skin of their teeth, but they keep going because they're tenacious and they're there to do the right thing. And there's no joy and there's no thrill to just have everybody be this enormous mountain of a man who's just steamrolling through everyone, you know?
I think there is some merit in doing that, but just not for everybody. I think if you looked at, like, Commando, for example, it's a ridiculous movie. He barely gets hurt, and he's mostly unstoppable for that entire movie.
For sure, yeah.
But then, like, my favorite action heroes, I'll just rattle a few off.
Please
Indiana Jones, for a modern one, John Wick, The Bride from Kill Bill, John McClane, Alan Ripley, Cade Yeager, all of these characters.
All the greats.
All the greats. They're all scrappy and injured. For example, if you look at Indiana Jones, he gets punched so much. But the interesting thing about
his skill is research and stealing valuable artifacts. It's not punching.
That's right. But he'll get in a situation that he's outclassed, but he keeps getting up and he keeps trying. And that to me is more interesting than, say, for example, what John McClane has become in the Die Hard movies. It was scrappy, getting his feet cut. He's balding and he's running from place to place and he's hungover or whatever. But in the new ones, he's just crashing through ceilings and fighting helicopters with his fists or whatever.
He's just like, oh, there's a helicopter approaching, better throw a taxi at it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my standard issue move.
Yeah,
know?
That's right.
No.
I'm not saying, I don't think that kind of action hero is going away.
Yeah.
But I think now that people know everybody's going to give as good as they get and nobody's allowed to die or be hurt, I guess, where are the stakes in upcoming movies? Don't you think you risk people losing interest in them?
I absolutely think you do.
Yeah.
You can feel it. One character gives 2 hits and the other character gives 2 hits and then they separate and they go their separate ways or whatever. It's just, they need to find more creative ways of hiding it at the very least.
Yeah.
You know, because again, in Hobbs and Shaw, we get 2 characters that are allegedly very different. Their methods are so different. We know that because they told us their methods are so different. But realistically, they're just 2 big, brawly, burly guys just swinging fists at each other or at the bad guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their methods are pretty much the same. Like if one guy was really super cerebral and one guy was this big brawler, at the very least, if they were both winning in their, you know, both steamrolling their way in their own way, at least it would look a little bit different.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
One of my favorite action scenes from the Fast and Furious movies, in terms of fight scenes, is where Han and one of the other Fast and Furious people fight like a proper martial artist.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what movie it's in. It's probably 5. It could be 6. It's probably 6.
Could be Lethal Weapon 4.
It doesn't matter. But I remember that because it's, again, that moment of them being hurt and, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, they just try to catch their breath and like, we're not doing very well. Apparently also, this is from a Universal spokesman, they want to make sure that every character has their moment and they are seen as formidable opponents and each Fast character is a hero to somebody watching and they never forget that. So they're also fearing that if you love Statham, you can't handle Statham losing a fight or being hurt.
Yeah, right.
And I don't think that's true.
No, absolutely not. It's way more inspiring for kids if you have a character that isn't perfect, that gets knocked down and gets back up again.
Sure.
You know, they tub thump it.
They tub thump it, exactly.
You know what I mean? But just be a Superman. Just be an unstoppable Superman.
Yeah.
And you will be the winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
What does that teach anybody? Nothing.
I mean, it's bloody PC gone mad,
It's
isn't it,
PC
mate?
gone mad.
But speaking of, though, people associated with this franchise said there are fewer concerns about scorekeeping in the women's fights.
Okay.
Yeah. I just thought that was an interesting wrinkle in this whole thing.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I thought we'd end on this, though. Do you remember there was a feud between Vin Diesel and The Rock from a few years back?
Yes, initially it was like The Rock was like, I'll never work with this person again, and we all made assumptions. I thought it was Scott Eastwood.
For some reason.
But it wasn't Scott Eastwood. It was The Rock, and Vin Diesel apparently
Yeah.
didn't get along on the set.
And apparently, though, he said, it's not always easy being an alpha, and it's two alphas. So, you know.
Get over yourselves.
So that's where we're at with these movies. Anyway, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. We recently actually did one on whatever that new Fast and Furious movie's called.
Hobbs and
isn't it?
Shaw.
Yeah, but also The Boys.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Few alphas in that.
And if you want to see people get beat up or exploded,
Yeah,
then
right.
that might be the show for you. We also do videos here every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And that's the end of this video.
All right.
And subscribe.
Subscribe
for
and like, hit
videos.
that bell.
Yeah,
Hit the
that's
bell. Get a little notification.
Please do.
Yes. Grab that jammy, guys.